Welcome everyone, Bill Dow here. I am super excited about this video. So in today's video, what I want to talk to you about is managing multiple projects, okay? So how do project managers successfully manage multiple projects? Long gone are the days when you can just manage a single project. It doesn't happen, especially in IT, right? Over the course of the last 20 years as a PMO manager, what I have done is I've used the ratio of 3 to 4 projects to project managers. See, in the waterfall world, that makes sense, right? Because what happens is our dev and our test cycles are much longer. So when we get into a dev cycle, a project manager, it's not that they're not busy, they're just not as busy as the initiation and the planning phases and even the closing phases. So what we do is we have that luxury, that ability to assign another project while there's a little bit of a lull or a little bit of a gap. So I've been doing this a long time. And what I thought I'd do is I thought it would resonate better if I tell you a story. And it was one of a great story because it's a peer project manager of mine. And he was managing 15 projects at the same time. 15 projects. So here's the story. We were working together at a large software company. I'm sure you all know which one, it's fine. And I asked him, I said, hey John, how are you doing it? How are you able to manage 15 projects at one time? And he says, Bill, frankly, I can't. I can maybe manage 3 or 4, which was interesting because that's the ratio I've been using for years, but I can't manage 15. I can't do 15 issue logs and 15 schedules and 15 action logs and 15 risk logs, right? It just doesn't happen. It's not possible. 15 status reports and 15 status meetings. So what he basically said is, yes, he could have and he can manage the 15, but he's not doing a great job across the board. He's nailing 3 or 4 of them, but he's not nailing 15, right? Does that make sense? So let's keep going. If you do like this story though, and you like this topic and idea, please subscribe to the channel, right? Just hit the bell notification, hit the like, and you'll be notified every time that I release new videos. I do want to ask you a quick question though. How can you manage 15 projects? Like, you're a project manager or you're a PMO manager and you've assigned 15 projects to your project manager. How do you possibly think that they could be successful? What happens when 3, 4, 5 of those 15 go into red status and require a daily meeting? What happens when they're in yellow? You've got 7 in red, 7 in yellow, right? 1 in green, right? What happens? That's just not possible. And it was the same position that John was in. Interesting, right? Okay, so let's keep going. So the scenario is, what do you do about this, right? How do you possibly manage multiple projects and still be successful? Because that's going to come up, right? You are going to manage multiple projects, but it's a matter of what do you do and how do you really structure that to make sure that you're set up for success going forward. Because in IT, that's just a thing. Well, first, it's about having a methodology and having a structure in place for each project. See, when I've done waterfall projects, and I have personally managed lots of projects myself, and when I've done agile projects, it always comes down to having a structure. It always comes down to having a solid processes to follow in each and every project. And it's following those processes that will allow you to manage multiple projects successfully. Does that make sense? So what do I mean, right? What do I mean exactly? Well, the first thing I always do is I get myself a project environment set up. I get a structure in place like a SharePoint site. In that SharePoint site, I'll have action logs, I'll have decision logs, I'll have issue logs, right? I will get those all set up. They can be blank, right? I'll get a project schedule set up. So with Project Online, for example, you get a SharePoint, you get a risk and issue log, you get a project schedule, right? You get all that stuff set up. Then I'd get set up my weekly status meetings, right? I'd get a whole series of ROB, my Rhythm of Business calendar. I'd get all that set up and I'd establish all the series of meetings I need for my project. Now, this is at the very beginning of the project. This is before any risk occurs, any work occurs. So I get up and really establish project environment number 1. Then I establish project environment number 2, and then number 3, right? So what I have is, I have all these environments set up, blank issue logs, blank risk logs, blank schedules, right? But it allows me to follow that structure. So then I start managing my projects. And what happens is I essentially have those same worlds set up across project 1, project 2, project 3. I know exactly where to go, what SharePoint site, what Google Drive, what LAN drive, whatever the case may be. I know exactly where the issue logs are, where the risk logs are, where the OneNote is for my meetings, right? So I have this environment. And so when you're thinking about managing multiple projects, it's really about setting up a series of environments, setting up those same worlds across every project, and then execute your projects when you're in the lull of a dev or test cycle. You can jump onto the other projects. But the top thing I strongly suggest you do is get your world set up, get your project environment set up, and then you're able to bounce between those two worlds. Well, what do you think? Does that make sense? It's what I've been doing for years. Just a quick reminder, if you like this video, please hit the like button, but more importantly, go watch my next video on resources working on multiple projects and what can you do as a project manager in those cases. It's listed right here on my channel. Go check it out. I'll see you online. Thank you.